From the sidelines on 1580 KGAL.
Hang on. I'm still setting everything up for this morning, so just do whatever you got. If you got them at home, smoke them. We'll be there in a few minutes. Am I ready? Do I look ready? Do I look prepared? Do I look like authoritative?
You do.
Sports talk host?
You do.
Yeah, well, that's I can fool you. I can fool anybody. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to From the Sidelines, our Friday morning talk show here at KGAL Radio. Sports talk, not politics. No politics allowed, only sports. Why? Because we're three menches. Is the plural of menches?
I don't know.
Or menchie? Maybe it's menchie. Well, let me mention this.
Menchie sounds like an hors d'oeuvre.
Oh, wait, you're on 4. See, it throws me off here. We only have 3 people in here, yet you're sitting on microphone 4. How am I supposed to keep up with that?
Just got to keep the act up, I guess.
And the fact that then there was an error in the opening minutes again just throws me off for the whole day. I was so proud of myself, and then you're on microphone 4. What microphone are you on?
I believe I'm on 2.
Well, that's where you should be. So good for you. So I'll introduce you, because you don't need any introduction. They don't care. I mean, they do care. They love you. So they don't need an introduction. That's Wally Ordeman.
Good morning.
What a nice ensemble you have here today.
Thank you. Thank you.
Tie.
Kind of springy, maybe.
The better to hang you. The better to hang you with during the coming hour of this program.
Give me your best shot.
I shall. I guarantee we will be in a discussion and an argument before this hour is done. I know the topic, and I know the one we'll argue about. But over there, I will forgive you for being on microphone 4, even though there are only 3 people here in the studio. And, of course, I diligently had opened 3 microphones, but yours is now open. Sam Toy.
Good morning.
It's good. Where have you been?
Out and about, getting things done.
Hanging out in the sports world?
Yeah.
Sports bars and things like that. All right. What are we going to talk about?
You said you had a topic.
I didn't say I had a topic.
You said we were going to argue. So,
I said we'd argue.
Which means that we are going to take opposite sides of a position here.
Well, and whatever is brought up, but I didn't say that I had anything to bring up.
Well,
all right, well, let's start here. What? Rutgers. No, not yet.
No, so you do have some things in mind.
Oh, you bet. We're going to argue about that. I know we are. Let's talk about, of course, the Ordeman scam. I'm not going to say that anymore. People know what I think of it.
Well, I handed you one, and if you happen to...
is that what it was?
Yes. I even highlighted it for you to prove that it's not an Ordeman scam.
Is there a winner with the 4 still to play, or is that still close enough?
It is close enough at the top, but need to say that Rob Allen has dropped significantly since last week when he was in the lead.
All right.
He is no longer. Scott Landgren way down there as well.
Yeah, well, that makes sense. Anybody that's on this program is down the bottom. And we're talking sports as if we're some type of authorities.
So I'm guessing in the lead is somebody who's probably under the age of 10?
No, they are not.
And in the Ordeman family?
No, they are. No, and that's why I brought you the highlighted version. The highest Ordeman is down in about 8th place and has no chance of finishing in the money. That would be Perry.
There's a frightening thing I see in here. It says no more teams alive.
Yeah.
What does that mean for the Final Four?
When it comes to the brackets, obviously that means that they cannot win.
So we do have Syracuse, Michigan, Wichita State, and Louisville are still okay to play. Now, how do you pronounce
Louisville.
it? Louisville.
Yeah, Louisville.
You say Louisville?
Louisville.
You ever been to Louisville?
I haven't, but I've heard Southerners say it's Louisville.
Yeah.
Not Louisville.
The Register Guard, after they beat St. Louis, they had in the next play the next day in the headlines on Sunday, big headlines on the sports page, Louisville, Loovul. Get your motor running. What did that mean?
I don't know.
It was a stupid headline, but it said Louisville. They had that part right. All right. C. Miller.
Yeah, that would be Casey Miller.
Casey Miller.
Yes.
What does 1 mean?
Oh, it's he submitted 4 brackets or 3 brackets or whatever. The 1 just means that was his first one that he submitted.
Oh,
because you can submit up to 4 brackets in the Ordeman March Madness pool. we'll call it.
I would get in if we could submit up to like this weekend. Submit 4 brackets.
Yes, that.
That would be stretching the boundaries a bit.
Yes.
I think it would be fair. Are you against fairness in life? Are you against giving people a chance?
I am all about fairness.
Apparently, you are not object. Let's take a look at this as it pertains to the rest of the program, part of the program. You do believe in second chances since you give all these people 4 chances to guess correctly.
Sure.
So in certain circumstances of life, a second chance is okay with you.
I am well documented in saying that.
But in other times, close your lips, shut your mouth, and no.
Just like with the March Madness, when you lose, you lose.
But you get 4 chances?
Yes, you do get 4 shots.
You get 4 chances.
And obviously, if you look at the highlighted Wally Ordemans on this list, even with 4 chances, I finished well below most.
Yeah, you did.
It's devastating.
Boy, you know nothing about basketball.
It is obvious I know absolutely nothing about college basketball. I thought I did. Pretty much don't.
What does
this is my worst showing ever.
I don't know what position you're in other than to say you're more than halfway down here.
Yes.
A good 2/3 of the way down, probably 3/4 of the way down with 3 of your brackets.
My highest bracket is 14 points below the leader, and I have no teams left in that bracket.
Oh, I see. Over at the left, these are points, the numbers. That's why it goes from low to high.
Yes.
Here. I thought maybe I was looking at numbers of where you were in the standing.
Mm-hmm.
That's not kept. We don't know exactly what number.
No, I mean, you could speculate here that I'm at about 15th place.
15th place? Are you kidding me? There's how many names on here? 100 and something.
Well, sure, but if you go by the numbers on the left-hand column, and this probably isn't all that compelling for the people at home, but if you go, if you count down from the leader, I'm probably tied for about 15th or 16th. It's horrible.
You're tied for 15th or 16th, yet your name is about 3/4 of the way down.
Yes.
Of how many people totally submitting?
If you do this, if you were to do this like they do it in golf, then I would be tied for about 37th.
How do they do it in golf? I don't understand.
Well, they take if you have a leader and you have 3 people tied at second place, then the next one in the sequence would be
fourth.
What, 6th? It'd be 5th.
What?
No, because all 3 of those count as the next 3 spots. So. You see what I'm saying?
No.
Yeah. It's tough to explain.
What I'm saying is, and can we note this at home, please? Number one, what is evident from this form here of how the people fared with the Wally Ordeman brackets for the NCAA tournament, one is that you do believe in giving people a second chance. In fact, 4 chances to get things right. And then secondly, you believe in putting a good spin on things, because while if you take the total number of people who are ahead of you, you're about 3/4 of the way down the list. Yet you told us I'm tied for 15th place because many of those people are tied with the same point total at this.
In actuality, I was just trying to simplify it for you, Ray, because I know you need that.
No. What it says is that sometimes you like to put the good spin on things. All right?
There's no question. But
note that at home, too.
Before you go on, I have to, because I know she's listening to the program.
Yeah.
I need to go on record as saying my wife, Renee, is absolutely slaughtering me in the March Madness bracket. She is well ahead of me, and I admit it, and that's the last I'm going to say of it.
And may I say this to your wife at home, Renee? Good for you. Way to go. We were all pulling for you here at KGAL K Show. You know how we love you, and we're glad that you did that. Good for you. So at the top is Casey Miller. And there are 3 people who are currently tied with 69 points total, whatever that means of accumulating points is for you. Casey Miller, T. Hoflick.
Yep, Tyler Hoflick.
And Trafford Turkowitz.
Yep.
Are all tied with 69 points. Kevin Schlegel.
Right.
Is a basketball player.
Yeah, basketball coach, yeah.
Oh, a coach.
And his son Jalen played for West Albany.
I sort of knew that. Yes, Kevin is the coach.
Right.
68 points for him. 67 for Cody Martin, 66 for Sally Sheen, and 64 for Lucas Jaco.
Right. Got to mention Ernie Townlend and Steely Smith also tied with Sally Sheen at 66 there. So, and Lucas Jaco has 2 brackets that are sitting there at 64 points.
Oh, and they're a little different.
Right.
They have different people winning?
Yep.
Oh.
So essentially, how many points do they actually have to get in order to be able to pull
Well, it graduates because for the first round, there's 1 point. For the second round, there's 2 points. Third round, and so on and so on. So these next games are worth 5 and 6 points, respectively.
All right. And Casey Miller has Michigan still alive, the only team? The one is indicated.
I believe that's right. What the paragraph above said, and Perry, my son Perry's who put this together, but nobody has 2 teams that can go to the championship left on their brackets, and nobody has 3 teams still alive that are in the Final Four.
Really?
Yeah, it's basically it's going to come down to these first 4 names or so that are listed here.
That's tough because Casey Miller has Michigan. He's tied with Tyler Hoflick, who has Louisville. Mm-hmm. Trafford Turkowitz has no more teams alive.
Right,
so he's done.
So he's gonna fall back down because he has no chance of more points.
Kevin Schlegel at 68 points has Michigan still alive.
Right.
But if Michigan wins, then Casey Miller would beat him out.
Yes, and Kevin would finish second.
And Cody Martin has Louisville's still alive. And he has 67, but if Louisville wins, Tyler Hoflick wins. So it's just the ones at the top. Casey Miller, Tyler Hoflick, or perhaps Trafford Turkowitz. No, he has no more teams, so he's out.
And I will remind you, as well as anybody else, that we will hope to have the winner either in studio or by phone next Friday.
Yeah, I want to get him here and grill him just the way.
That's right. That's right.
A little later.
Yep, you bet. I want to grill him too.
Right.
I want to know how they got to this point because I certainly am suffering.
Did you say Syracuse would be in the Final Four?
I had Syracuse in one of my brackets going to the Final Four.
Still, that was not good enough to propel you farther here?
Nope.
Because nobody else here among the top ones has Syracuse. They all have either Louisville or Michigan, and that's it.
Right.
Well, the shocker, appropriately, is Wichita State.
Yeah, the Shockers.
Yeah.
Well, I had Long Island University. Are they in there at all?
They are not.
No? Did they not do it?
No.
James Madison?
Lost.
Yeah. Liberty?
Lost in the play-in round.
I picked Liberty simply because I love Liberty. I know nothing about them, but I love Liberty.
You're a patriot.
See, I say that after Dennis Prager. All the people that are still here that I haven't offended that were listening to Dennis Prager will say, good for him.
You know, we all use different criteria for picking our teams. I could have picked Liberty just because that was the name of my grade school.
Liberty?
I might as well go with that.
You went to Liberty?
Colors of uniforms. I went to Liberty Grade School, yes.
I went to PS 72.
You did. You did.
Is there a school named PS 72 that's in the thing?
Only if they expand it to about 1,000 teams.
No. Was there a moniker the Sweat Hogs?
We didn't have one in 72. We did not have a mascot at 72 that I remember.
The Fighting 72s.
Yeah. We did at South Park High School. We were the Sparks.
Yeah.
Is that good?
Oh, South Park, Spark.
Nice.
That's clever.
Did you see where Jason Hansen has retired?
I did.
How many years did Jason Hansen play in the National Football League?
It's 21, wasn't it?
21. And he was from Washington State. Remember there was a kicker a few weeks ago and I said, wasn't he from Washington State? Turned out he never went anywhere near Washington State. I forget.
When you look out across the Willamette Valley, you'll see plenty of banking choices. Willamette Community Bank is here to give you an option that's pretty unique, like no other, in fact. Hi, this is Sue Kalina, Relationship Manager. Willamette Community Bank provides an alternative to large national and regional banks by offering customized financial services and local decision-making to benefit local people, local families, and local businesses. How many banks can say that?
Willamette Community Bank, service like no other. Member FDIC, equal housing lender.
The Lebanon Association for Theater Arts, LAFTA, is presenting a benefit musical performance of You're a Good Man, Charlie Brown, this Friday and Saturday at 7 p.m. and 2 p.m. Saturday matinee in the Lebanon High School Auditorium. Tickets at the door at Lebanon Chamber, Umpqua Bank, Linco Federal Credit Union, and Staithorpe's Music. $8 adults, $5 students and seniors. Don't miss this benefit musical performance of You're a Good Man, Charlie Brown, this weekend. Proceeds go to the Lebanon High School Performing Arts. For more info, dial 990-1413, 541-990-1413.
The real
really big spring event is going on now at Power Honda in Albany. Swing in today and test drive Consumer Reports' top small SUV, the 2013 Honda CR-V. Right now, during the really big spring event, you can pick up yours and take advantage of the special financing offer of 0.9% interest for 60 months.
Financing subject to approved credit.
Visit Power Honda online at mypowerhonda.com or stop by Power Honda in Albany today, just east of I-5 on Santiam Highway, your Honda Superstore.
Financing subject to approved credit.
A good web page is a must sales tool for today's businesses. Santiam Communications will put together an efficient, thorough web page that is right for your business. Santiam Communications knows how to bring customers to your door and your phone. Call them at 541-223-7444. Put Santiam Communications to work for you. Call them at 541-223-7444 or visit santiamcommunications.com.
Termites, ants, wasps, spiders. What's bugging you? Do you want a more environmentally responsible way to treat insects? The best way to protect your home is to get some help, professional help. But who do you choose? The phone book is full of choices, and if you call them all, you'd get everything from an answering machine to a national call center in another state. So how do you protect your home from what's bugging you? Calmly pick up your phone and call Swanson's Pest Management. You'll be talking with experienced pest experts who will arrange a free inspection to determine the correct type of treatment needed. First, we'll attack the outside to prevent them from getting in. Next, we'll offer the most responsible treatment solutions, and we'll apply the treatment properly so there's no residue to be brought in by shoes or paws. We have a reputation for excellence in service. Call Swanson's Pest Management today for your free inspection, and we'll take care of the problem, no matter what's bugging you. Swanson's Pest Management. In Albany, call 967-7435. For Corvallis, 752-2427. CCB 79884.
Lebanon's 2013 Biz Expo, April 16th. Admission free, over $3,000 in prizes. Be there.
Oh, is that us now? That's right. I thought I'm the one that plays the music. Isn't that the case? That's a funny thing, you know? That's a good thing. All right. Well, welcome back. You're on microphone 4. I just opened 3 again. Why? If we have 3 people in the studio. Good morning, everybody. There. No. I put him on microphone 3. The next time I'll open microphone 4. Again, the computer. I have to explain that I have constant battles with that computer back at the main station in the morning. I don't like it. I call it Jane. It's my trophy computer wife. We divorced the last one about 1.5 years ago, and at the time, I have to admit that I was happy because I was fighting with the other computer all the time. I was happy to be married to a new computer, but, you know, as often happens, realized I made a serious mistake, and the other computer, never gave you a name, but sweetheart, if you're listening, could you come back? Get rid of Jane, who was driving me bonkers. And Jane knows it. She knows, you know, I sometimes tap on its little screen in the morning very gently. No Mike Rice stuff. I have not thrown a basketball at it yet, but I'll tell you, I'm going to go Mike Rice one of these mornings on that darn thing. Especially if it keeps cutting us off here on From the Sidelines. It just takes over. We're on a sort of a remote system, and it just takes over and makes its own decision. All right, well, we buried the Ordeman brackets. The only 2 that can win, Casey Miller and Tyler Hofflick. Congratulations to those 2. We'll see who gets the victory. They will visit us next Friday. My theory was that the only way you could win in this year's brackets was to know less about basketball, so you would take some fruity choices, some strange things, a little wacko.
I can't disagree. I mean,
do they?
I might try it next year.
But what about Casey and Tyler? Are they really basketball fans and into it deeply?
They are, and what's remarkable about this is Casey Miller, Tyler Hofflick, and Cody Martin all 3 are very good friends. And I don't know if those 3 sat down, did their brackets together, and did some brainstorming or what. But all 3 of them here in the top 4.
So they are fans.
They are fans.
Oh,
yes, and they're consistently in our brackets every year.
Really?
Yeah.
So they make me look bad.
Yeah. In fact, I think Cody Martin is a past winner, and we couldn't get him on the show for some reason. But I think Cody Martin is a past champion of this.
I had said that's Wally Ordeman, that's Sam Toy, and I'm Radio Ray. I said last week, Sam, you were not here, that the only way you could win this year was to know less about basketball, so you would take some strange choices, And
it has been an interesting year, especially with Wichita State being in. Because historically they have not been in.
Which one?
Wichita State.
Oh, Wichita State.
In fact, the last time they were in was I believe the year after Ralph Miller left to go coach somewhere else. He was coaching them.
All right.
He got in the NCAA.
Hang on a second. Let me get Ralph Miller. Ralph Miller. Who the heck is Ralph Miller? We know who Ralph Miller is?
Yeah, we certainly do.
We do.
Ralph Miller. Who is he? Isn't he a golfer? Oh, that was Johnny Miller. Bob Miller.
I think Ralph was around before he got here, maybe.
No, Ralph Miller.
He knows very well who
Ralph
Miller
Miller
is. Yeah.
He was a little bit. I don't think that I saw any Ralph Miller coach games. The first one I went to is when Jimmy Anderson was the coach. And so I never saw Ralph Miller in person. He was a little bit cantankerous.
Oh, man.
Oh, yeah.
I've got
Old whiskey sour.
I've got a great Ralph Miller story about the respect of Ralph Miller.
All right.
Oh, you want to hear it?
Sure.
Well, I was a rower at Oregon State, and during the 2 seasons that I did that, in the winter you can't row on the river. I mean, it's too cold and there's too much debris coming down the river, and so you come off the water for a couple of months, and it's all conditioning. And when it's really nasty outside, you would go in and run the stairs at KGAL. Well, the basketball team would be practicing during that time, and Ralph Miller would sit at center court on the sideline, but at center court in a chair,
with a table beside it.
What's that?
With a table beside it.
And a cigarette in his hand.
And an ashtray right beside it.
And they would be scrimmaging back and forth. And there'd be, the ball boys would be shooting at the side baskets, and we'd be running the stairs, and there'd be people walking through the gym, and all sorts of commotion going on while they're practicing. Ralph Miller, when he wanted to stop the practice, all he had to do was start talking, and he would not raise his voice. He would just say, something in a regular tone of voice, and the place would shut down. We would run quieter. The kids would stop bouncing the balls. People would pause as they were coming through, going from one side to the other, using the gym as a shortcut. The place would freeze when Ralph spoke. And it was a phenomenal thing to watch. And it happened time and time and time again. All he had to do was speak. And that's a big place. All he had to do was speak, and the place would shut down.
Well, his voice was very distinct. It'd be, AC, stop. Lester, you got a screen down there.
Your description of cantankerous is absolutely accurate.
Cantankerous. All right, I would assume that you would be saying that the people stopped because of respect.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
What about fear?
Well, certainly could be that.
Why? What would the fear of what?
Well, if you shot a jump shot beyond your capabilities,
what would he do?
He'd go right down the bench and put in the next player.
I know where you're going with this. He wouldn't throw basketballs at guys.
He didn't have to throw basketball, but why fear? What would the fear be? Simply that you'd be removed from the game? Is that all you would say?
Well, yeah.
That's it? Never yelled at them?
Oh, he yelled.
Yeah.
Sure he did.
All right.
Sure he did. Yeah. But you know what the thing was with Ralph Miller? He didn't have to yell. Most times he didn't have to yell. He would scowl, and he would give you the look. And I mean, I watched Ralph Miller. I watched him coach games. I watched him coach practices, and he had this look that he could give you that would shrink a 6'10" postman for Oregon State. He just had that presence about him, and you respected him so much, and his ability to coach and his knowledge of the game, that you froze, and you listened, and you didn't mess up the second time.
Mm-hmm.
So if he had been privileged to have me playing ball for him at 6'4", 240, I would have stopped instantly, but not out of fear for him. He was going to yell at me. Just his knowledge of the game. That was sufficient.
Yeah.
Respect.
I find that hard to believe. But all right, let's talk about something else then. Let's talk about this Mike Rice affair the other day with Rutgers.
Sure.
Mike Rice, I checked this. I thought at first Mike Rice, Mike Rice of the Blazers.
Right.
I didn't realize that was his son. Did you know that?
I didn't know that.
That is his son. I would enter that. We're going to court to decide the fate of Mike Rice here this morning.
Oh, good.
Mike Rice the younger. So let's enter that immediately, Your Honor. Mike Rice the elder is his father. Mike Rice was a coach at one time. He coached at Duquesne for a couple of years. He coached at Youngstown for a few years and then decided to go into broadcasting. And he was part of a sort of a tryout, as I understand it, with the Blazers. Mark Radford was there, a couple of other people, and Mike Rice got to sit in for a quarter with Bill Schonely. And he was voted, I'm not sure how they did this, but he was voted as the one that should become the sidekick for Bill Schonely. And he's a tremendous assist for the Blazers.
No, he's great.
I think he's the best of everybody that's worked there. For a time, KGAL had the Blazers on the air for several years. And when I first came here, there were special events that were put together in coordination with the Blazers. And one of them, I think it was Zach Randolph was the one that was invited to come down, never showed up. They would just write it off. But not Mike Rice. Mike Rice was always here, and Brian Wheeler came down. And one time I spent a couple of hours just sitting on a curb over in Albany with Mike Rice, talking to him, and found him really delightful. I mean, he had a good sense of humor. He laughed. He told stories. He was very, very friendly. When I heard the name the other day, Mike Rice, I thought, what a curiosity that is, that Mike Rice, the Michigan coach, has such a furious temper. And there's Mike Rice. I hope people don't misunderstand this story, that it's Mike Rice at Rutgers that's being fired. Well, Mike Rice at Rutgers is his son. But we all have respect for Mike Rice, the elder. But I want to read you something about Mike Rice, the elder, that I got out of Wikipedia here. His coaching career, the stuff that I just said about being at Duquesne. He went to Duquesne University where he played basketball, got them into the NIT while he was there, where he was part of the team. I got them into the NIT when he was a coach for a couple of years, coached at Youngstown. Broadcasting career. Oh, here's the part. Rice bested former Oregon State University guard Mark Radford, ex-Blazer assistant coach Jack McKinney, and retired NBA referee Earl Strom in the tryout, which gave each a quarter of the game to work alongside Schonely. He was chosen as the one to be the assistant. He started as part of the radio team since 2006 and 7. He has worked with Mike Barrett, West Albany graduate.
Right.
Providing color commentary for the television broadcast. Known affectionately as the Wild One.
Interesting.
Is that interesting? Rice has been referred to by journalist Kerry Eggers as part basketball expert, part entertainer, 100% character. He is. I liked him immediately. Echoing those sentiments, Blazer television producer Scott Zachary has likened him to a favorite uncle and publicly pronounced him a goofy dude. This is why I liked him immediately, and we got along well, I think. Rice himself acknowledges a propensity for blurting out sentiments that more circumspect announcers would tend to internally filter. I don't give about a lot of things, he said. Later on, I think back, now why? Sounds kind of,
fiery.
Yeah, fiery indeed. This tendency to be what former broadcast partner Eddie Doucette remember Eddie Doucette with the Blazers?
No.
I do. Has characterized as a loose cannon.
Okay.
All these things are interesting.
Yeah.
Intrigued? Combined with his unabashed homerism, has made Rice a figure of some controversy. In fact, his demeanor resulted in one of the events for which he is best known, his 1994 ejection from an NBA game, the only broadcaster to ever be ejected from an NBA game.
Nice.
There are rules when you're sitting at that scorer's table.
Yeah.
Yeah, you would know.
Well, especially like the OSU press box, when I was working in the media, when we were working together at another time and place, they had a Mike Corwin, who used to be the sports information director, would say, go through the spiel that, no cheering in the press box, otherwise you will be escorted by the sports information director, Mr. Hal Cowan.
That's when people sit up in the press box and watch the game. You're not supposed to cheer for either team. Well, here's a story from Mike Rice. At the time, Steve Javy, the official, was a young official. That previous week, he had kicked out a mascot, a fan, and kicked somebody else out, a trainer or something like that. Mascot. He was on a roll that week, says Mike Rice. He had made a call, and I looked on the monitor and saw it was a bad call on Cliff Robinson. I kind of put my hands like that, 2 hands waved at the official, and he ran over. Cliff thought he was going to call a technical on him because Cliff was standing there doing the same thing. He ran by Cliff, and that's when he kicked me out of the game. The rest is history. But all of this is very interesting at Mike Rice Sr. So there's a little volatility there, but make no question about it. When I met Mike Rice, and it was a couple of times that we spent a little time together with some promotion that we had with the Blazers, I really, really liked him. But there's a volatile side to him that, I never saw. And it's a fun side because he's a broadcaster.
Sure.
Now, Mike Rice of Rutgers, we saw you've seen the
I have
video
seen the
this morning.
videos.
Some clips.
Yep.
I saw it a couple of days ago, and it was on ESPN, it was in the afternoon, and they were discussing the matter. So over and over as they talked, and various people took turns talking about their take on what had happened with Mike Rice. He had been fired. They were showing that same video, and all you saw constantly was basketball after basketball after basketball being fired at somebody. Mm-hmm. And you saw all the clips, the words that they were blocking out, the gay slurs and the curse words that he used. That's all you saw over and over on a rotating, what do they call that in broadcast business?
Mm-hmm. Like on a loop.
Reel. Yeah.
You are in broadcasting, aren't you?
On a very part-time basis.
Yeah. A loop. You see how difficult that word is? You can see why I couldn't think of it. On a loop. That's all we ever saw. Mm-hmm. For a little while, they showed him on the sidelines, and he was exhorting people like any other coach would do, but most of it was that same thing. Mm-hmm. I would say to you that they fired him. All right, they did fire him. But it seems to me that once again, the broadcast industry is guilty of making the court a one-sided decision maker, because all people saw was this man throwing the ball over and over and over again at people and cursing. All I ever saw of his father was a very pleasant individual who talked with me for a few hours, and we just, told various stories about broadcast and things of that sort. I really liked him. They call him the wild one, call him a little bit goofy.
A loose cannon.
There is another side. There is another side to his son, too. It's obvious he is the son of Mike Rice. We all like him. You like what you've seen of him. I like talking to him. There is another side to the son that was never presented on any of these broadcasts, and they made it seem immediately like, no question, this guy is a monster and he should be fired. And they wanted Tim Pernetti fired a couple of days ago. He was fired this morning. Yeah. He's the athletic director. Mm-hmm. Right. Because he saw the video, apparently same one, it was never said, but apparently the same one, had to be, back in November. What we don't know is what went on between them. We have no idea. When Pernetti didn't fire him, he fined him $50,000. He suspended him for 3 games and said he had to go to an anger management class. When was this video comprised? What happened after the anger management class? What was he like? Did he show any change? And Tim Pernetti knows him better than you or I or anyone who saw only that same, what was that word?
Loop.
Over and over and over again. That's all we know about him, so we don't like him. And now we also want to criticize the athletic director for not firing him. Who do we think we are? We don't know anything about it. They didn't show us anything other than that one side to Mike Rice on ESPN. That is extremely unfair. I'm not saying that he should have not been fired, but everything else that is said about the man is really unfair, the way that they make us come to a conclusion. That conclusion should have been up to Rutgers University. And if Pernetti did not make the decision, let's find out why. I rest. I'm sure the audience is glad.
Okay. Well,
let me applaud for the audience. That's good. Yeah.
Which part do you want me to tackle?
Let's take a break.
Okay.
Let's take a break, and we'll come back. I just think that once again we have witnessed the unfair court of broadcast. They show you one side. We don't know what went on. We never talked with the younger man. We don't know what he was like. Everybody else says, he's a nice guy. But he had that bad side of throwing basketballs and cursing. Let's take this break.
The Osgood File, sponsored in part by Cassidy Turley. Discover clarity in commercial real estate services. Discover the value of market intelligence. In other words, discover Cassidy Turley. This is Charles Osgood. As you may have heard, honeybees have been dying in large numbers in recent years, and this past winter may have been the worst yet, says our CBS News colleague Michelle Miller.
USDA researchers say early indications suggest this winter will mark the highest death rate they've ever documented.
This affects the supply and the price of honey, of course. But it's much worse than that, says beekeeper James Doan.
I think people just need to really be aware that bees are so important, not just for honey production, but for pollination in the United States.
You realize how important that is to our food supply?
A third of all our food is pollinated by honeybees.
More after this. When it comes to your business, forecasting cash flow can be one of your biggest challenges. Sage offers integrated online and on-premises accounting and payment solutions that provide simple, affordable ways to forecast cash flow, predict operating capital needs, and streamline billing and invoicing for faster payments. The result is better business decisions that get you closer to achieving your ambitions. Grow your business with confidence. Grow your business with Sage. Learn how Sage is helping businesses like yours manage their cash flow at sagetoday.com.
Because Jan switched to Geico and saved hundreds of dollars on car insurance, her savings account wants to take her to a fireworks show. But it can't. It's a savings account. It can't read where the next fireworks show is in the local paper. Switch to Geico, and every time you see extra money, you'll know your savings account wants to take you to a fireworks show. But remember, it can't. It doesn't know how to read. It is, however, happy that you're saving money.
Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance.
Once again, here's our CBS News colleague, Michelle Miller.
Commercial beekeeper James Doan makes a living renting out thousands of hives to farmers up and down the East Coast. His bees are part of a crucial lifeblood to U.S. agriculture. But something is killing the bees at an increasingly alarming rate.
Every day you look and you'll see 100, 200 bees dead in front of the hive, maybe even to the point of 40 to 50,000 bees laying out in front of the hive, which is not normal.
Normally, bees die at the rate of 5 or 10% a year.
Now some beekeepers say they're losing up to 50% of their hives. Many blame a class of pesticide called neonicotinoids or neonics.
They block the nerve endings of the bees, and so the bee is paralyzed, and then what happens is they starve to death. So you see the bee shaking, and it's a very horrific way of dying for a bee.
Doan has joined a group that's suing the EPA for failing to ban those neonics. The EPA won't comment on pending litigation, and the pesticide industry argues there's no proof that the bee deaths are caused by neonics alone. Could be a lot of things, they say. The Osgood File. Charles Osgood on the CBS Radio Network.
Meet the Johnson family. While they enjoyed their vacation last summer, their lawn was getting greener by the minute. They played while the weed man made their yard beautiful. Now's the time to schedule your vacation, and don't forget about your lawn. It's moss and insect control time. The Weed Man, always safe for your pets and kids. Call 917-3394. 917-3394.
Call the Weed Man by April 15th and schedule a free liming application worth up to $100. Call 917-3394.
Underwater? Upside down? Do these terms describe your current mortgage situation? Jay Farner here from Quicken Loans to tell you that it may be time to get harped. With HARP, you may be able to refinance at a lower rate even if your home has lost value. Millions of homeowners are eligible for this program right now, including hundreds of thousands who currently have a mortgage with Bank of America. That's right, hundreds of thousands of Bank of America clients are eligible for HARP and have not yet taken advantage of this opportunity. Quicken Loans may be able to help. To learn if you're eligible to get harped, log on to QuickenLoans.com and click on our easy-to-use HARP tool. But you've got to act right now. This unique program is scheduled to end at the end of the year, and I don't want you to miss out. Once again, if you owe more than your home is worth, or if your current mortgage rate is higher than 3.99%, call Quicken Loans right now at 800-QUICKEN or go to QuickenLoans.com. We're engineered to amaze.
Important terms and conditions apply. Call us for cost information. Equal housing lender. Licensed in all 50 states. NMLS number 3030.
Hear the truth and only the truth from your cultural crusader, Michael Medved, on News Talk 1580 KGAL.
I opened 4 microphones just in case. You choose the one you want. Welcome back to From the Sidelines. We do this Friday mornings at locally owned and operated KGAL Radio. Very proud to be locally owned and operated. It's a rarity in radio. It's a good thing. That's Wally Ordeman. That's Sam Toy. I'm Rudy Ray. Talking about the firing of Mike Rice, the volatile coach of Rutgers. I mentioned that when I heard the name, I immediately thought of Mike Rice of the Blazers, and it turns out that Mike Rice of the Blazers is his dad, described by some people as a wild one, a loose cannon, a goofy dude. But you can see a little bit of then like father, like son, but the son took it to an extent in throwing basketballs, and when he was the coach of Rutgers, throwing basketballs at players, cursing at them, gay slurs, politically incorrect comments that he made. No question that it might warrant firing. But I'm saying, I believe that because all that we know is what we saw in the video, and if you as I watched ESPN, you saw it over and over and over again, throwing basketballs, cursing. You never saw anything else about him. If I just read this one piece about his dad, the wild one, the goofy one, the loose cannon, I think, whoa, he's got to be a little dangerous. But I talked with him personally a few times when he came down here to do promotions in the days when KGAL carried the Blazers. So I don't know him by any means, but I know a little bit more about him. And when I see these words, goofy and so on, I can smile because I do know a little more about him. All we know about the son is that one side. People at Rutgers know more about him. Tim Pernitti did not fire him initially, and I say we should not immediately jump in and say, yes, boy, he should be on his way out, and Tim Pernitti should be fired because he didn't fire him because he saw that video. I think that conclusion is wrong. Wally, you don't.
It's not that I don't, Ray. I think you're going to be surprised here. I agree with a good share of what you're saying. First of all, the media, I have always been concerned about the influence that the media has over general consensus. And I am the first one to say that I do want to see two sides to every story. I don't like how the media sometimes can influence what we think. Okay, fair enough. That being said, I agree with you as well that you handle this as an internal matter as well as you can and make the decisions based on the information you have. It sounds like initially, I don't disagree with Rutgers in the 3-game suspension and the anger management. I didn't know the anger management class thing part of it. Who knows if that would work or not. Mm-hmm. The fine, big deal. I mean, these guys are making millions. I don't, that may have been the best thing for them to do under those circumstances. That does give him a second chance and gets him a chance to make it right. Here's where we may differ. He had to be fired, and it's when it went public. And with the media the way it is, and Dave Adams, we were talking during the break that everybody's got a cell phone, they could take video. There's whether this was a planned video or somebody just watching practice that took the video. Once that went public, they had to fire him because nobody is going to send their kid to Rutgers if they know that that's the abusive behavior that the coach is going to display. If somebody and then you can make the argument that it shouldn't have gone public, or what right did anybody have to make that go public? And I would tell you that if I am in a position where my son is a high school senior and he's on the fence of where he's going to go to college, and that is not made public, I'm ticked at that too, because now I have an opportunity to see what this man's really like that's been sitting in my living room trying to convince us that he's a good guy and that Rutgers is the right place to go. Once I see that video, my kid's going somewhere else.
And like it or not, in today's society and culture, if you have video and the video goes public and you're doing something that's not appropriate, you're going to get nailed.
Are there any other coaches in America that sometimes curse at their players?
Sure.
Bobby Knight was season on the brink.
Sure,
when that came out.
He threw a chair, didn't he?
Of course, yes.
Yeah.
And that's a really good point. And I thought about Bobby Knight. He did. And I thought about Bobby Knight when you were saying, I won't call it a tirade, but I'll say that when you were making your remarks that when you had that bead of sweat going on your forehead, I thought of Bobby Knight, and I think that what Bobby Knight had with his well-documented approach to coaching and his anger issues, he was known for that long before the chair throwing thing and the shoving players and all that. He was known for his volatile nature, okay? And people were still sending their kids there because you also knew he had been at it long enough that you also knew about his soft side and his ability to get his kids graduated and all the good things.
I would disagree quickly there. Because I think it was because he was winning. That's why you'd still send your kid there. If Mike Rice were the coach at Michigan and they got him to the same situation as it's not Itzo. Who's Michigan coach?
No, I can't think of his name.
I can't think of his name either.
Well, they recently had a coach on one of the network programs in the morning who the coach at Hofstra who recently got fired because he didn't win. And you're also dealing with the constant pressure of having to perform in college basketball or in college athletics, where you're you got to win.
Let me just finish that thought. If he had won, and that's what Bobby Knight did, that's why you would send him there. You would say, okay, the cursing and the throwing the chair, occasionally he's going to be a little bit wild. You excuse it because he won. The same thing if Rice were a little bigger than the coach at Rutgers, but he didn't do that well at Rutgers, you probably excuse it too.
Unfortunately, that is true. And I don't disagree with that.
As long as you say unfortunately. And I do disagree with you that once it went viral, yes, he had to be fired. We agree on that point. The point we're debating is the firing itself based on what he did. Only because we saw it. If we hadn't seen this thing over and over again, and you were the athletic director at Rutgers, and somebody brought you that video in private, but you know more about him, just as we know more about this guy that's described as a goofy dude, a wild one, and a loose cannon, Mike Rice, his father. We know more about him. So we say, yeah, that's, he is occasionally a little goofy, but that's fine.
Sure.
If you were the athletic director and you knew the younger Rice personally, saw him as a pleasant individual, good individual, but saw this video, what would you do?
I think that I would probably handle it the way he did, the way the athletic director did.
Okay.
And that in the fact that you know this person personally. I'm not disagreeing with you on that. I'm saying that you make decisions in life, in business, in sports, in every walk of life on the best information you have, and make a good faith effort to do the right thing. And I believe that about Pernetti. I really do. So fine.
And now they fired him because he didn't fire him, because he didn't fire Rice back in November.
Yes.
What do you think of that?
That's an absolute shame.
Good. Good for you. You get a star this morning, Wally. How about you, Sam?
I am not sure.
Fire Pernetti?
Well, he's out. That's the bottom line.
I know he's out, but is that right or wrong?
He's the athletic director.
Not anymore.
Not anymore. But
is that right or wrong?
He was the athletic director. He had oversight over the basketball program.
You're not going to tell me whether it's right or wrong.
I'm getting to my answer.
Okay.
So, he had oversight over the basketball program, like you said, based upon the information. That's he made that decision on what he did, but he had to do it. So.
But now they fired him. Is that right or wrong?
I'm not sure.
Okay. All right, I can understand that's an acceptable answer also. At least the jury is out.
He's good. He's a good talk show host. Answer me. I want an answer. You're starting to sound like one of your friends.
I should be in court instead of being on the other side all the time. Mr. Pence. Let's take this break.
Why did you hit that cow on your drive to work?
A cow. Don't have a cow. I hit one months ago. A black cow standing in the road on a dark day. When I saw it, I probably said the same things Mike Rice said to his players. It's just, it's spur of the moment. It doesn't make me a bad person. All right, let's take this break, and we will return from the sidelines.
Hi, Rebecca Grizzle from Linco Federal Credit Union here to say how proud we are to sponsor the 2013 Lebanon Chamber Biz Expo, April 16th at the River Center. Last year we had over 1,800 visitors. We want you to join us again this year. It's free. With 140 vendors inside and out, visitors can win prizes valued over $3,000. There's free samples, demonstrations, singing, dancing, artists, face painting. Doors open at 10 a.m. and close at 6. Admission is free. We've got something special this year from 2 to 4. We'll have a free shred truck outside. Bring those confidential papers and you can get rid of them safely. Biz Expo has something interesting for everyone. Animals, entertainment, a chance to find out all about the different services and products offered in Lebanon. Don't miss the Lebanon Chamber Biz Expo, April 16th from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. at the River Center. So mark your calendar to come early and stay late.
Wild Hair on Main Street in Lebanon presents the Wild Hair Players.
I'm a long hair, I've got bad hair in my eye hair. I need help.
Oh yeah? I need a manicure and then a pedicure and then I'll top it off with a wax. Ouch!
Hey, look over there.
What does that sign say?
Why, it says wild hair.
Wild hair? It's just what we need.
Yeah!
Wild hair, nail and foot care.
You mean reflexology?
Yes, I do. Wild hair, hair and nail care for guys and for gals.
And kids too.
Wild Hair at 1820 Main Street in Lebanon. A full-service salon open 6 days a week. Stop by or call for an appointment. 258-2234. 258-2234.
Wild Hair.
Attention senior citizens. Are you confused with all the information you've been getting about the new prescription drug benefits and health plans? Take all the confusion out of the whole situation by making one simple phone call to the Swanson Agency. The Swanson Agency has specialized in health plans for seniors for 20 years now, and as an independent agency, they represent nearly every plan that's available out there. By answering just a few questions about which prescription drugs you currently take and what your current health plan is, the folks at the Swanson Agency are able to explain which plan is best for you. They can get you enrolled and maybe even save you some money in the process. It's easy. Go ahead, make that phone call to the Swanson Agency, 757-7166. There's no obligation. That's the Swanson Agency. They're in Corvallis, 757-7166. It's easy. Go ahead, make that phone call to the Swanson Agency, 757-7166. The Swanson Agency, 757-7166.
Your voice of reason in the West is Hugh Hewitt. Weekday afternoons at 3 on Smart Talk 1580.
All right, let's finish up here this morning on From the Sidelines. We're talking about the firing of Mike Rice, I believe, because he is the son of Mike Rice, the Blazer broadcaster, that there are a couple of sides to Mike who can be a little crazy. As a basketball coach, his son really gets involved in an area in which he gets a little wound up, wrapped up, and gets a little crazy. But just as is his dad, I believe there is another side to him, and what I complain about is that's the side that we know nothing about, we didn't see. So all we can judge him on is that one side that may well have warranted firing, but it's not up to us to make the decision because we don't know and didn't see that other side of him. It's up to the university. So we shouldn't have been so quick in saying, he's gone, he's fired. The university would know that other side of him, would know whether there was a chance that he might change, and would give him the chance to change because they know the rest of his personality.
I think, Ray, the other point I wanted to make that I don't want to get lost in all this, and it's we didn't really dwell on this in talking about things going public and him should he or shouldn't he. Let's not forget the conduct that we witnessed was horrible.
Yes.
And that is, I mean, when it comes right down to it, and in a world of right and wrong, how he acted toward his players was wrong, and that cannot be forgotten in all this. Whether the methodology was right or whether the media or how they brought it to the public's attention or anything, let's not forget how he acted was abominable.
Not to mention representation of the university.
That's right.
We should not have seen that video over and over as we did. They should have been like CBS not showing Kevin Ware. It's not the same thing.
But the problem is we did.
We shouldn't. Well, we did. But then we make the decision that he should have been fired. I'm saying that there is more to the individual, and that's what's wrong with broadcasting, is we don't learn that there is far more to the person. And there's far more than is dreamt of in our philosophy, Horatio.
And that's why you give him a second chance, and that's what the university tried to do.
Yes, and now we're down on the university, and people jump to the conclusion they should have fired Pernitti. There is a commentary today, I believe it's Robert Barchley, or however what the last name is, that he should be fired. He's the president. And Rob Allen joined us just now, and he makes a comment here with his smartphone. I hate those smartphones. That actually Tim Pernitti resigned. He was probably given the chance to resign so that his resume will look better. In essence, he really was fired. Don't you believe?
I believe that.
Yeah. All right. But he was the one that would know more about Mike Rice, and because he gave him some months, we don't know what happened after all that.
And
Did
you
he calm down?
You can't go after the president of the university.
When did the basketball throwing take place? All through this season? We don't know.
I don't know that either.
Was it after his suspension? How many times did he throw the ball after the suspension? How many people did he hit after the suspension? How many times did he curse after the suspension? We don't know.
But the thing is, the video caught that, though.
But we don't know when it was done.
We don't.
It's not a matter of when.
We are not the jury that should be allowed to make the decision.
But it's not a matter of when it took place.
Yes, it is. Pernitti should be allowed to make the decision.
Agreed.
We should not. Thank you, Wallace.
It would be Walter.
Walter. Thank you, Sam. Good to see you, Rob Allen. See you all next week from the sidelines. Have a good sports week, everybody. Box scores are back in the paper. Isn't that great? Ellsbury, 3 for 6 on the first day. A couple runs batted in, runs scored.
Locally owned and operated, this is the very independent News Talk 1580 KGAL, Lebanon, Albany, Corvallis.